Let's begin by gathering all ingredients together. For this recipe, you will need 2 pounds of cubed wild meat or stewing beef, 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 4 cubes of beef bouillon or 1 liter of beef broth, 3 large potatoes, 1 large onion, 1 cup of frozen or fresh vegetables, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, half a teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of both dried rosemary and dried parsley. We will start by preparing the meat. If you are using wild or game meat or a large cut of beef, use a sharp knife to cut the meat into cubes. Here, we are using beef stew meat that is already cut. Place a large pot over medium heat. Add 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil to the pot, followed by the meat. Brown the meat on all sides. While the meat is browning, we will measure broth and spices. If you are using bouillon cubes, mix them in water to make a broth. Here we are using a no salt added beef broth. Next, measure out 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Once the meat is brown, add broth and spices to the pot. Bring the broth to a boil. It is boiling once there are several bubbles in the broth. Reduce the heat and cover the pot. Let the broth simmer for about 1 hour. In the meantime, we will prep the other ingredients for our stew. We will start by washing potatoes. Using a vegetable peeler or sharp knife, peel the potatoes. Chop the potatoes into cubes. Try to make them roughly the same size. Next, we will chop the onion into small pieces. You can also chop any fresh vegetables you will be adding to your stew. You will need at least 1 cup of vegetables, fresh, frozen, or canned. Here we are using a mixture of fresh and frozen. If you like more veggies in your stew, feel free to add more than 1 cup. Finally, measure 2 tablespoons of cold water and mix in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. This will be used to thicken your stew. Once your broth has simmered for 1 hour, add all the vegetables and cornstarch to the pot and stir well. Cover the pot and simmer for 1 more hour. Serve the stew with bread or bannock and enjoy. You can freeze any leftovers.